Oddly enough, this episode never mentions Monopoly. Let's get to it, shall we?
You should see me in a tank top.
Are you coffee?
The Outer Limits.
Nick Adams plays Mike Benson, a jaded ex-boxer who walks into an underground poker game just in time to see a cheater get shot and everybody run out without bothering to pick up any of the scattered riches. Hearing the police outside, Benson opts not to go out the front door, but upstairs to the fire escape, only to find it locked. In a panic, he bursts in on a woman binge-eating a tub of cottage cheese. Deciding not to mess with her, he runs back to the scene of the crime, because that's a logical thing to do. But when he goes through the door, he finds himself electroported a million light years to the distant planet of Andera. There he meets a shadowy alien known as the Senator, who tells Mike he has been selected to participate in an intergalactic game of some sort. First, though, the Senator has to choose a female teammate, and since we've only seen one woman in the show so far, he might as well choose the cottage cheese girl, Laura Hanley. Once she arrives, the Senator explains that his people, the Anderans, have conquered war and disease, but at the cost of extreme boredom that can only be alleviated by, quote, fun and games, unquote. Mike and Laura are to fight two aliens from the Calco Galaxy, and whichever team loses, their entire species will be exterminated for the entertainment of Andera. Nick, though, has no interest in fighting and opts to forfeit, even though he will be dooming the entire human race. Look, dude, there's rejecting the call as part of the hero's journey, but then there's just being a dick. Laura begs the Senator for a chance, and he says Mike has 24 hours to change his mind. The humans are returned to just before they were abducted, and this time, Mike chooses not to go back to the poker room, but instead to hide out in Laura's room. She takes the cops off his trail, and then the two talk about what they just experienced. Mike tries to write it off as a dream, but Laura tells him it happened to her too, and that they should go back and fight, because she knows they can win.
I feel it inside me. I feel it.
A girl once said that to me.
Mike tells her he lost badly in the ring once, and that he has claustrophobia, before running off again, the entire human race be damned. The next morning, after having a vague exposition dump nightmare about a recent divorce from a pathetic husband, Laura finds Mike in his safe house and tries once again to convince him to fight. He delivers an incredibly sexist and condescending speech about how she's nothing more than a cheerleader, because we haven't been given enough reasons to hate him, I guess. And then the cops surround the building. Mike takes it like a blubbering child and wishes he were anywhere else but trapped in a cage. So the Senator electroports him back to fight in the arena, a hostile jungle planet with lava rivers. Then he lets them know that this is a fight to the death.
A knockout will not suffice.
The Calco aliens are more primitive, so Mike's gun is rendered useless, but the aliens are still allowed their weapons of choice. Australian shaving razors. Fortunately, the aliens have really bad aim with them. Shortly after arriving, Mike and Laura find one of the Calco aliens already dead, and deduce that it was killed by its partner in order to double its food supply. Something that was just given to both teams off-screen.
Oh, well, you didn't mention that on the phone.
Please let me finish.
Feeling already defeated, Mike takes the opportunity to fill in his backstory by talking about how, as a kid, some bullies threw him in an animal cage for just a minute or so, which was apparently enough to scar him for life. Bored by this soliloquy, she leaves him with the entire food supply. As she tries to cross one of the lava rivers, the alien emerges from the shadows to miss a trapped and stationary target with his boomerang. Then the Senator interrupts proceedings to explain to Laura that she and Mike will forfeit if they don't act like a team. I guess this rule didn't apply to the other guys. After mocking her for not taking care of her ex-husband,
You've run away again, haven't you?
the Senator then resumes the game, and the alien fails yet again to kill her with his weapon. She gets back on solid ground to look for Mike, and the alien tries again, this time actually grazing her arm. Mike then arrives at the bridge and, assuming Laura had crossed it, starts to walk across. The alien, having lost his weapon, then tries to knock Mike into the lava. Mike once again reverts to infancy, leaving Laura to pick up the boomerang and use it on the bad guy. I like to imagine that there was a long backstory here involving Laura after the divorce, going into the Australian outback and meeting a handsome bushranger who teaches her how to use a boomerang before breaking her heart and leaving her with just a tub of cottage cheese to remember him by. Though this flashback sequence was inexplicably left out of the story, Laura manages to hit her target on the first try, killing the Calco and saving the human race. Then Mike, as a culmination of his hero's journey, falls into the lava. However, the senator explains that since the other team was killed first, he spared Mike's life, for whatever good that does, and he then returns them to their lives. The idea of aliens abducting humans and forcing them to fight in an arena wasn't original to the Outer Limits, not even at the time this episode aired, but it was still a few years before Star Trek would do it. There are some good ideas in here, and I absolutely love the characters. Unfortunately, the story treats Mike as the protagonist, when it should unquestionably be Laura. Mike is just the worst, with no real arc, while Laura is the one who has to step up, conquer her demons, and be the hero. Both actors, future Toho token white guy Nick Adams and future VP of 20th Century Fox Television Nancy Malone, are great in their respective roles, and the creature design on the two Calco aliens is wonderful. Like a lot of other Outer Limits episodes, though, this one does feel too long. But it's still, all in all, a good ride. And that's all I have on fun and games. Now, as always, do all those YouTube-y things and check out my Patreon and all that other good stuff. But until next time, this is the Unapologetic Geek, telling you to never be ashamed of what you love, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
You know, I may be wrong, but I read you to be one of those save humanity types.
Do you?